Once again, you already know what it is and you already know where you have reached. This is one of the number one professional wrestling podcasts in the world today. You know what I'm saying? Definitely happy to have you guys with us on the doorstep of what's going to be an amazing combat sports weekend, professional wrestling weekend, the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? It's a fired up kind of time for us right now, man. I'm so pleased right now on this episode of HUBBanomics to have my good friend right here on July 11, 2025, man, the one and only co-host of Clash of the Podcast, the proprietor of Everything Pro Wrestling. He is the one and only Conrad Cushman, taking time out of a busy schedule to be with us tonight, man. What's going on, brother?
Brother, it has been a wild day and even more on the way, I think.
It's going to be nuts, man. We got a crazy schedule coming up, man. I checked the Twitter, man. We're going to be rocking and rolling from now all the way through Monday. But with that being said, man, my name is Sean Hubbard. This is HUBBanomics, presented by Clash of the Podcast, man, a very special edition as Conrad has been able to make an appearance. I'm really fired up about that. And we're going to be discussing something I think is really poignant and prevalent, especially on a weekend like this weekend. When you think about women's wrestling, you know what I'm saying, we're on the doorstep of what is going to be a very, very interesting and hopefully successful weekend in women's wrestling. On the AEW side, you have Mercedes Mone challenging for the AEW Women's World Championship. On the WWE side, you have Bayley and Becky Lynch going after the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Charlotte's going after the Women's Tag Team titles. This is a weekend for wrestling in the world of women. So why not discuss one of the most prominent groups in all of professional wrestling as it relates to women's wrestling, and that is the Four HorseWomen. Right over my left shoulder, you know what I'm saying? Conrad, let's just get right into it, man. Listen, like I said, we're on the doorstep of what can be a monumental weekend in the women's wrestling realm, right? Mercedes going after the women's world title in AEW, multiple title matches for the other three women back in WWE. Yo, when you think about the influx, the introduction, the debut of the horsewomen, whether it be as a group or obviously their individual debuts in NXT, what do you remember the most?
I remember Becky Lynch's dance that she came out to, the little the dance that she did. I remember Bayley being wacky inflatable too, man, and very huggable, and I was like, oh, this is kind of weird, but you know, you can get along with it. I remember Mercedes turning when I first was like really getting into NXT. Like she was looking in the mirror and Summer Rae got her to turn from like the enhancement good girl talent to the boss. And I remember Charlotte like being poised as the next one, going up against like Natalya in the 4 ways and such. So,
you know, for me, you know, we'll get into who was the best moving forward. To me, there's only one that can be considered the greatest horsewoman of all time. My opinion has always been Sasha Banks / Mercedes Moné, but there's conflicting opinions, right? And that kind of rolls around the fact that you have the heir apparent, the daughter of the 16-time heavyweight champion of the world, Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair. When you think about Becky Lynch, the first ever woman to win a main event at WrestleMania. You know, Bayley has won every title there is to have. Let's talk about Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, in my opinion, is one of the most talented in-ring performers as it relates to a female in the history of the business. But she annoys the crap out of me. Her character has not changed in 10 years, no exaggeration. And I just can't stand what has become of her. You know, we've come a long way from Stephanie McMahon standing in the ring and introducing her as one of the newest acquisitions to Monday Night Raw from NXT. That was exciting. But this I'm the queen stuff, this basically carbon copy of her dad, this coming back from injury and automatically winning the Royal Rumble, coming back from injury, automatically beating Ronda Rousey, taking it back a little bit. Am I bugging when I say that Charlotte Flair is a little annoying, or at least how she's booked?
Yes and no. Is part of it. So I guess I have to get deeper into it for you. Like, is it the fact that she is given so much, or is it the character? Like, what specifically grinds your gears about Charlotte?
I think that we should be diving a little bit further into her being a heel. I think she's a natural heel, and I think that having her come back as a babyface is insulting. So to me, it's the way she's booked. It's also her character as it relates to how she performs in the ring as far as her promos are concerned. Listen, man, I don't want to hear I'm the queen. First of all, I don't want to hear any woos. I'm sick and tired of her wooing and strutting and coming out with the robe. Who are you, Charlotte Flair? Because to me, you're not your own person. I understand you're your father's daughter, but do you want to be remembered as Ric Flair's daughter, or do you want to be remembered as Charlotte Flair? And to me, she's not going to be remembered as Charlotte Flair. She's going to be remembered as her son, as her father's daughter. And it's hard to get away from that, but there are some things you could have done, in my opinion, Charlotte Flair, that could have made this thing a little bit more diverse. Does that make any sense?
Yes. Can I stick up for her for like
please.
A little bit? Here's the thing. Who booked NXT at the time when she first came up?
Triple H.
Who's Triple H's favorite wrestler, if you had to guess?
The Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Him or Harley Race, right? You have to think that he was like, your dad's one of the best ever. You have to pay homage to your dad. Like, I'm sure she was told that. Like, that's the thing for her to do. My issue, I think, with her leans more into, and I guess if we're doing like the good and the bad of each of them,
yeah, of course.
My issue with Charlotte leans more so into she's given a lot, and this is on the booker, not so much her. Like, who's going to turn it down? Why would someone turn it down? If you said, Conrad, you could be a 21-time world champion if you sign right here in 10 years. Sure, I'm in, but that doesn't mean the people are going to accept it, right? So people are going to do what people are going to do with the pushes that they are given. That doesn't mean that people are going to accept it, though. So I think that makes it for a difficult discussion sometimes as to what do you want Charlotte to do in this situation? Should she say, no, I shouldn't have the title? You would think that there has to be some forethought into saying that, but could you be the next person getting passed up on? I don't know. If you're that confident in your abilities, you wouldn't worry, but at the same time, you're not going to give someone the chance either.
All right. Let's think about this for a second. Let's, because I wasn't going to go this route, but I appreciate you taking it there. Bill Goldberg is challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship tomorrow night at Saturday Night's Main Event, right?
Mm-hmm.
The elephant in the room is not Sean Hubbard making the bold statement that Goldberg's going to be the next World Heavyweight Champion, though I hope I'm completely wrong. The elephant in the room is not Gunther. The elephant in the room is not even the Money in the Bank briefcase and Seth Rollins. The elephant in the room is that when Triple H or whoever Triple H's team is sat down with Goldberg, I'm going somewhere with this, Conrad. I'm not veering off. Trust me. Sat down with Goldberg and said, hey, this is what we want to do for your final match. We want you to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. Goldberg, with his cachet, should say, hey, I don't think this is the best idea. Hey, this may not resonate well with the fans. Hey, maybe we should go a different direction. Why are you bringing that up, Sean? What the heck does that have to do with the Charlotte Flair conversation? When Charlotte Flair's coming back from her knee injury, when Charlotte Flair's coming back from her previous knee injury, and they say, hey, Charlotte, this is how we want to bring you back. We want to bring you back out of nowhere to beat Ronda Rousey for the Women's Championship on SmackDown. Hey, Charlotte Flair, we want to bring you back from a knee injury to win the Royal Rumble. Wouldn't you think she'd be able to say, for the betterment of my character and for the betterment of the other people in this locker room, maybe we should go a different direction?
You would hope that would cross someone's mind, but I think wrestlers are fearful. We know.
Fearful of what? Now, I don't mean to cut you off. I want you to roll after this. Fearful of what? At this point, she's already been 12, 13, 14-time champion. Fearful of what?
I think that they love the spot that they're in, where you're top dog. And I think now we're seeing Charlotte kind of go through the metamorphosis of, oh, you're in a tag team with Alexa Bliss. What? You know, she's not used to that. It's kind of probably like a reality check right now. And how do I get to this level? Do I need to be a baby face? But I don't think people will accept Charlotte really as a baby face. Like out of all of them, she's the one I feel like you really can't turn. It's going to be difficult. If it's not natural, I don't think people will be into it.
Let's get off Charlotte for a second. Great analysis on your part. Like I said, one of the greatest female talents ever, but to me, overhyped and overrated. Becky Lynch. How many more times do we have to hear she's the first main event in WrestleMania history for a woman? How many more times do we have to hear that she's the man? How many more times do we have to hear that she revolutionized the industry? You know what? That was 2019. Okay? What's going on with Bayley, or excuse me, with Becky Lynch now? Because Becky Lynch, to me, has taken a major step backwards. Major step backwards. And that step backwards started when she main evented WrestleMania. Coming out of that WrestleMania 35, when she started teaming up with her husband, when they started being lovey-dovey on camera, you fast forward, she goes to have a baby. Beautiful thing, by the way. As a parent, I never will have anything negative to say about that. She comes back. She squashes Bianca Belair. I'll never get over that. That still bothers me to this day. She comes back. She automatically wins the Women's Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania 41, turns on Lyra Valkyria, wins the Intercontinental Championship at the next pay-per-view. Again, too much too soon. Like, take me back to the evolution of, no pun intended, of Bayley and where we are. I keep saying Bayley, of Becky Lynch and where we are now.
A lot of bees.
Yeah.
With Becky, I think that it comes down to they were trying to push Charlotte very hard, and I think all of them have been benefited from Charlotte's hard push into becoming baby faces in a sense. Becky was on SmackDown, Charlotte was as well, and Becky first women's champ. It was all good, SmackDown women's champ. But do you remember that SummerSlam though? Where Becky was supposed to do the heel turn and cheer Charlotte, and they were like, "Nah, we're behind Becky." Becky caught steam, and there's no denying that. I think in the company's eyes, Becky was the right person at the right time, and everything flowed. Nia Jax busted her nose. You get the great picture of "I'm tough. I'm one of the best around here." She was on her verbal bestness out of it, and I'll say this. You mentioned how great Charlotte was in the ring. I'm going to say this. Becky Lynch is probably the best one on the microphone out of all of them. She looks comfortable, and she's great there. I think her weakness, though, is in-ring possibly. Sometimes the matches out of the four, they're probably the weakest with her. They're not. WrestleMania 35, yeah, she was the first one to main event, but it wasn't the best, like, in-ring technical prowess, if you remember. Like, that was a rough match to watch a little bit in some parts. And you got to think too, if you were so great, why did they have to add Charlotte to the match? Charlotte was there to make sure probably everything was done well in the ring. Keep it together, please, because Ronda doesn't really know. Becky's there for the talking points. You know, each person brought something different into that match, and I think that's why they did it that way.
Before we get into the second half of the Four Horsewomen, we want to make sure we give a big shout out to the chat. Clown13Z4 Tweezy's in the building. Afternoon, everyone. I'm going on a rant. Tickets just went on sale for Survivor Series. 2 seats in the nosebleeds, where my blind wife probably won't be able to see anything. $339 before taxes and fees. Oh my. WWE does it again. The only Vinny we like is in the building. He says, "Happy Friday. God bless." Same to you, my friend. Quilly, Sir Quill's in the building. He says, "What's up, Hub, comrade, and chat?" It's your boy, Sir Quill's, back again to enjoy yet another dope edition of HUBBanomics. Let's discuss the original Four Horsewomen of the WWE. Let's get into it. Hashtag HWW, hashtag EPW. Quills, always an honor for you to be here. Conrad showing love to the people. Appreciate you, brother. Vinny saying Charlotte is so overhated. Overhated. Did you mean to say overhated, or did you mean to say overrated? If you overhated, oh my. But I have a gut feeling he might have meant overrated. What do you think, Conrad?
I think he meant overhated. I think a lot. If you're a Charlotte fan, they probably don't like hearing from people like us because they're like, oh, you guys are on it again. Leave her alone. But with each of these people, like I said, to me, they're all legends in my mind. First ballot Hall of Famers, you could main event with each of them. But there are positives and negatives to each, which you can clearly see, and we're pointing them out.
Sir, I want to run with that Hall of Fame analogy in a couple of seconds. Sir Quill says Charlotte Flair has been the most over-push of the four horsewomen. No question about that. XG Dub in the building. Appreciate you, my guy. Clown says, okay, found some cheaper tickets, taking the wife to her first pay-per-view. Congratulations, that's wonderful. M. Leezy for Sheezy. Hi, good evening, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Good evening, everyone, once again from M. Leezy. Clown says, hi, Matt. So giving him some love. Hi, back to Clown. I was giving some love to the chat as well. My peeps from XG Dub, we appreciate you, man. Clown says, once you say no, they may never ask you the question again. I agree with that synopsis, but I also think Charlotte Flair is the exception to that rule. Quill says, I always been more of a Becky Lynch guy than a Charlotte Flair guy. That's the same here. And Lizzie says, Becky was never supposed to be on the same level of Charlotte on the heel tone. Broken nose changed everything, but true. Not the best in the ring, wise out of the four. I agree. Delayed Gratz in the building. Appreciate you, man. He says, what's up to me and Conrad? Appreciate you. Welcome to him. XG Dubs Hubs. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Easy E in the building. Always a pleasure, my guy. Delayed Gratz says Charlotte Flair's weaknesses, her booking. Bayley's weaknesses, her booking. Sasha Banks' weaknesses, her mic work. And Becky Lynch weaknesses, her in-ring work. Let's get into this.
I'm going to add booking next to Sasha's too.
Oh, my. You want to talk about Hall of Famers?
Sure.
Tom Brady. Don't like the guy, but
you know I know.
First ballot Hall of Famer. No doubt, right? Drew Brees, first ballot Hall of Famer. Peyton Manning, first ballot Hall of Famer, right? But then you have people that, as much as I hate to admit this one, are Hall of Famers, but maybe not first ballot. And that brings us to our next of the four horsewomen. Bayley. Bayley is really, really, really good. But I got to be honest with you. Since Damage Control, which is a pretty big sample size, we're talking about 3 years now, Bayley's been kind of mid. Think about it.
No, I already have my thoughts on what I want to say, but go ahead.
Bayley's been kind of mid. I don't like the music. That's not her fault. I don't like the presentation. That's not her fault. I still think she's very good in the ring. The mic skills are iffy. She was go ahead.
She was good as a heel. Really good as a heel.
She was good as a heel. But this Damage Control version, I don't like it. I think it's really been a detriment to her career. I think it really took her down a peg. And I think when you think about people like Eli Manning, as a Giant fan, the guy who I consider to be the greatest New York Giant quarterback to ever live, and I love me some Phil Simms. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I love Eli Manning. Eli Manning brought me 2 rings in this generation. Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. But Eli Manning is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. As much as it pains me to admit, Charlotte Flair is a first ballot Hall of Famer. As much as it pains me to admit, Becky Lynch is a first ballot Hall of Famer. As much as I love to admit, Mercedes Mone, if she gets back in the good graces of WWE, is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Do you put Becky on that same level? This ain't NXT Brooklyn anymore, bro.
Bayley.
We're talking about 2025.
Bayley.
So talk to me.
No.
I said Becky. I meant to say Bayley.
You reversed it again.
I keep reversing it. What the heck is going on?
Someone put Hasselback in the chat. Jeez.
Yeah, that's troll vibes from Clown. Oh my god.
I feel bad for Bayley because I think they don't put her in advantageous positions to win either. Remember when the Four Horsewomen came up? Who was missing, Sean?
Bayley was the last to come up.
they could say it was because she was champ, but I think they felt like maybe she wasn't ready. Because then within a couple months, wasn't she right up there with them?
Yes, she was.
I'd say like 6 to 9 months. Why did you wait? What was the point of waiting? To me, if I was booking WrestleMania 32, it would have been a 4-way with all of them to crown the first Raw Women's Champion or the first WWE. I forgot what the belt was at the time. It doesn't matter. But I would have crowned the champion right then and there. Bayley, they saddle her with bad things. Then you give her the gimmick of being, oh, she loves to hug people, everything else. That's fine. Great for the kids. You can't have her go into a kendo stick match or an Extreme Rules match against Alexa Bliss and then not want to use weapons. What did you sign up for? I think that was sad, in my personal opinion. Like that was booking malpractice, and then you had to change your whole gimmick around. Bayley is underappreciated, I think, like Matt said. Like, it's unbelievable. She turned heel. I thought she crushed it. You did Damage Control. People got behind her enough, but at the same time, they saw the value in EO, and then you put Asuka in it. You muddied the waters, and you lost the plot. And me and you have been saying this since episode 1 of Clash.
Episode 1. There you go.
I wasn't. Damage Control seemed cool at first, but as the weeks go on, listen to every week, we became less and less impressed with what they did with that group. And now the group just dissolved. It didn't even really end. It just, Dakota's gone. We're gone. Bye. And that was it.
Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, like what were we doing? I don't know.
Man, I want to give a big shout out to you for being the voice of reason on Clash of the Podcast and here on HUBBanomics, man. I say these things because I love Bayley. I say these things because I think she has amazing potential. And I keep saying potential. It kind of sounds like stupid talk because she's already a Hall of Fame talent. I'm just saying, when you look through the annals of time and you think about the Four Horsewomen, and we haven't even gotten to the woman who I say is the greatest horsewoman of all time, my opinion only, Bayley's going to go down as the weak link. I mean, and when you think about weak link, now let me clarify this. There's weak links and then there's weak links. There's people like, there's the last guy sitting on the bench. And then there's like, okay, well, you know what? This team is so stacked that there's a weak link. Like in Evolution, right? Ric Flair was the weak link. That doesn't mean Ric Flair was weak. He was just the weak link. So to me, Bayley's going to always go down as the weak link. And I think you bringing up her being brought up last is a perfect example of how WWE botched this thing. Bayley is phenomenal, but she wasn't booked that way.
I think if you asked us, is Bayley a first ballot Hall of Famer, we would say yes. But I think in the future of time, depending on what else happens, going back to WWE and they're doing it, would she be a first ballot Hall of Famer? She would be the one that I would say that they would do that to. Even though she doesn't deserve it in my mind. Agreed.
It's not her fault. Let's go to some more comments, man. We appreciate you guys.
We didn't even mention WrestleMania 40 either. The little mini CM Punk rant that he went on too. Not on cups, but you won the Royal Rumble. You didn't give her any of the stuff. Like, you set her up for failure. I'm just saying. Bad.
I agree. Clown says better deflate that trophy when Tom goes in and film him practicing his speech. Matt Amlezi says Bayley is the most underrated, underappreciated. I think WWE don't value her as much as the others. I think that narrative has been written, Amlezi, which is the reason why we're having this conversation right now. Easy E says, has she been constantly on TV since her turn? Is that on her or is that on booking? It's on booking, 100%. 100%. Bayley is Dennis Rodman, Easy E says. Wow. You know what? And that's a really good one. You know why? Because those Chicago Bulls teams, I think he's talking about Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. Out of those three, who do you appreciate the least? Dennis Rodman. That doesn't mean Dennis Rodman wasn't awesome.
Right.
M. Leezy says, you know what didn't help with that Damage Control storyline, how they had her challenge Bianca 3 times for the title and lost all 3. Jocelyn in the building, -1 just showed up. Oh, my. Welcome. Easy It says, WWE got to get back in her good graces, Hub. Monet quit because they were bugging. I agree with that. That's a good point. Very true. And I had a big rant about that a couple years ago when that whole Naomi and Sasha thing went out. I went in on WWE. Never book Bayley for Mania. Sir Quill says Bayley is one of those ones who is the most underrated of all the horsewomen. Despite all of her accolades, she will continue to be constantly overshadowed. Let's focus on that comment, that great comment by by Sir Quills. Why is that? Why is that? She's a world champion multiple times over. She's a Grand Slam winner, for God's sake.
I don't know. I think that it was the mental gymnastics of going through it. Like you said, listen, I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. You know my favorite is Sasha Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're in the same boat here, but it's clear to me, you, and anyone with two eyes who have watched this product for at least the last decade, their favorites are Becky Lynch and Charlotte.
That's right.
Period. That's what it is. That's what it's always been. And I think they knew for the okie doke, well, Sasha and Bayley are the closest out of all of them. So they could be the tag team. They won't mind that. You guys are going to be history makers. You're going to do that. You know, it was easy to okie doke people out of like spots and keep them away from each other.
Yep.
And I get that's part of the game. But at the same time, the first Evolution show, you had them in a trios match with Natalya against the Riot Squad. That was the best you had for them in a match that we had seen already like a dozen times. So I don't know. I feel for Bayley, but I don't think you're wrong either in your assessment.
Easy E says ding dong. That was entertaining stuff. No question about it. Delayed Grass said Vince didn't believe in her as much due to her overall look and gimmick. Wow. That probably is true. Easy E says Vince has been senile for a decade. Oh my. SGW says good points. Cleasy says you got females out here like Izzy. Bayley might be the most influential of them all. Tokyo in the building. Appreciate you being here, man. Bayley never gets her respect. She doesn't get enough as she should. I'll give you that one. T. Ferg says, what's good, gents? I'm watching Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor 0 Hour right now. This is going to be a loaded weekend of wrestling. You are not lying. And thank you for starting right here with us on Clash of the Podcast presents HUBBanomics. Emily Z. Fashizi says, Bayley wasn't even on the poster for WrestleMania 40 and she won the darn Royal Rumble. Wow. Conrad, are you kidding me? Think about that. That's a good point. Yeah. That's a real good point. T. Ferg says, could Bayley end up in AEW one day? If she keeps getting mistreated, she will be. And speaking of mistreated, oh my, T. Ferg just laid that one up for me. Easy E made mention of it earlier. We made mention of it earlier, Conrad. WrestleMania Women's Tag Team Championship lost by Sasha Banks, Naomi. Not long after that, they both break camp. Naomi left, became a TNA champion, came back. She's now Miss Money in the Bank. She's done what she had to do for her career. Sasha Banks left, and she went to Japan. She went all over the world. She's now 6 belts Mone, and now very happy in AEW. Will she ever come back? We don't know. But as Easy E mentioned, yes, WWE has to get back in her good graces, not the other way around. But my question to you is, when you think about Mercedes Mone and what she's been able to accomplish in this industry, despite the continued setbacks and potholes being put in her way by WWE. I mean, talking about when she won the Women's World title on Raw against Charlotte Flair and then lost it in her hometown 2 weeks later. In her hometown, meaning Sasha's hometown of Boston, Massachusetts. When you think about the tag team championship fiasco, when you think about how this girl has come out and showed up and showed out in some of the greatest matches of all time, male or female, now killing it in AEW, about to be, in our, I think both of our opinions, or no, in your opinion, you're going with Tony Storm. In my opinion, will be 7 belt Mone by this time tomorrow. She is the greatest horsewoman of all time, because to me, she's one of the greatest period of all time. What say you about the CEO? What do you got to say about Mercedes Mone?
I'll start with the negatives because I'm probably going to gush for the second half of it. So Mercedes, I will acknowledge that there are mic issues, I think. I don't think that's ever been her strong suit. They did a great job in hiding that in like NXT and WWE, and I don't think it became prevalent. But then again, sometimes some stuff's not a problem until you go somewhere else. Wasn't a problem in Japan either, you know, but then it became a problem in AEW. But it's not her best thing. But in ring, she cannot be touched, in my opinion. She is crisp. She can do multiple styles. She can work with someone bigger than her, same size as her. Whatever we're doing, we can make this happen. We can make this work. And I think her offense presents so many unique like scenarios that you can get into. Her and Charlotte are the top two for in ring, in my opinion, out of all of them. I really, really enjoy it. And I've always told people, if you want to rank the Four Horsewomen, you can rank them all in different orders. There's going to be a point where one of them's number one, and there's going to be a point where one of them is number four in every category. It just depends on how you want to look at it. And each of them have their flaws, but I do think that they're all great. Going into Mercedes Moné, I think since leaving WWE after that horrible treatment she got, I think she has really proven her worth as far as this is why you should have paid me like you paid Charlotte. And I just think WWE didn't recognize the talents that they had in front of them. I saw it. You saw it. They just didn't. I don't know how else to put it.
Conrad, you know my motto. It used to be 20 minutes or less. Now it's like 30 minutes or less for HUBBanomics, man. We got a lot of stuff going on this weekend, man. Let's wrap this thing up. Obviously, our main show is on Monday, but I wanted to start this weekend off with a talk about women's wrestling and the horsewomen because of this epic weekend. For those who came a little bit late to the stream, I appreciate you guys being here. I opened up the show by talking about how this is an epic women's wrestling weekend. Evolution obviously speaks for itself. Ticket sales are not doing that well. People are getting upgraded to better seats because they're closing the top level of the stadium because they're not getting a lot of ticket sales. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a great show. I think they're going to put on for the city. I think that's going to be no question about that. Big up to Jada Parker. I hope she wins the Battle Royal. But Mercedes Moné is challenging for the world title. You know, the other horsewomen are all involved in title matches at Evolution. Between All In and Evolution, all four horsewomen are going to be featured. And it's a situation when you look back in history and you think about those NXT takeover shows, NXT Brooklyn 2, whatever the case may be, Fatal 4-Way where they all face each other in that match on NXT in that pay-per-view. Listen, man, or PLE, excuse me, even though I hate to say PLE. When you think about the legacy of the Four Horsewomen, first of all, it's a play on the Four Horsemen, right? And when you play on something that's something else, it kind of always comes across a little bit lame. But I think these women have showed up and showed out to the point where this could actually have been, if they had gotten together on screen, which they never did, this could be a Hall of Fame faction because every one of them is going to go into the Hall of Fame. My question to you, Conrad Cushman, is this. When we look back on the legacy, and I'm going to go one by one, I want you to give me 2 words or less. 2 words or less as it relates to the legacy of each female. I'm going to start with Charlotte Flair.
Confidence.
Becky Lynch.
It's hard to use less than 2 for this one. Right time.
Mercedes Moné.
Deserved more.
Bayley.
Underappreciated.
For Charlotte Flair, I'm going to say greatness and forced. For Becky Lynch, I'm going to say fortunate. For Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, I'm going to say courageous. And for Bayley, I'm going to say perseverant. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for being here on HUBBanomics. This was another tremendous show. As you know, this is how I do. I know it takes a long time, but I don't care. I like to shout everybody out. Clown 1334 Tweets is in the building. Vinny's in the building. Sir Quills is in the building. We appreciate you, XG Dub, being here. Emily Z for Sheezy was in here. Listen, we appreciate y'all so much. The late Grants made his way into the chat. Easy E was in here. I appreciate y'all, man. Jocelyn was in here. It's crazy, man. Everybody showed up on a Friday night. It's super, super, super appreciated, man. Tokyo made it in here. T. Ferg made it in here. Listen, man, this is what it's all about. Connor made it in here. Listen, man, make sure you check us out Monday night, each and every Monday night, 6:05 Eastern Standard Time for Clash of the Podcast. But boy, oh boy, this is just part one of what we are going to be doing all weekend long. Between Conrad, myself, and us collectively, we have you covered for this entire massive weekend in the world of professional wrestling. This was the Four Horsewomen discussion. Conrad, tell them what's coming up for you tomorrow night. Or excuse me, tell them what's coming up for you tonight.
Tonight, me and Rob will be doing a Ring of Honor Supercard review. So if you guys want to know what happened with that, tune in. I am looking at the pre-show as we speak, but I can't hear anything that's happening on it. But we'll have a review for that show. And then tomorrow it'll be me, Derek, and Hubbs, I believe, joining us for All In. We'll be doing a review of that show. Couple matches added in. I know they added 1 0-hour match. I haven't seen if they've added any more today for the last few hours, so we'll have to go look. But we're getting word that the ticket sales are moving right now. So excellent.
Listen, make sure you check out Conrad and Rob tonight as they bring you the ROH Supercard of Honor review show tonight, immediately following the pay-per-view. It's going to be crazy. We're going to keep the momentum going. Make sure you go to HWWeekly.com for full fight coverage of tonight's Serrano versus Taylor matchup at Madison Square Garden. I got you covered, man. All fight live updates on HWWeekly.com. It's going to be crazy. We're working hard for you guys. We got you covered from the boxing, wrestling, and all points in between. Tomorrow, Conrad, tell them what we got cooking for them.
We got All In. I don't know if you decided about your other thing that could possibly happen.
It's happening. It's happening.
Okay. Sean's going to be live during Saturday night's main event. I don't know why he's doing this to himself, but Goldberg in his final match, Sean will be live giving you guys the play-by-play for what I assume will be the main event against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be quite interesting. Hopefully, I think we'll be wrapped up with the All-In review by that time. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say. That'll be kind of like the follow-up to the All-In review that me, you, and Derek are going to be doing on your channel.
Yeah, like we're going to basically, if All In's 4 hours, this is my thought process. Starts at 3, 7. We'll probably review it for an hour. Then we're going to go right into Saturday night's main event, be there. Yep. And then Evolution, we're taking a break on Sunday. I have to take a break. And then I'm sure we'll discuss it on Monday for Clash, and you let me know what's happening with that. And I got a lot happening that day too. I got a birthday party, and
it's nuts.
I might be on Malik's podcast that day. It's just crazy. I'm doing a lot.
It's crazy. So just to review, right here tonight we had the Four Horsewomen review, right? Tomorrow afternoon, All In, immediately following All In is going to be me, Conrad, and Derek on the Everything Pro Wrestling channel for an immediate review. Saturday night's main event, I will be live doing a live watch along for Goldberg versus Gunther. And then on Monday, we're going to review everything. We're going to review Supercard of Honor. We're going to review Evolution. We're going to review Saturday night's main event, and we're going to review All In. We have you covered from all points. And of course, go to HWWeekly.com on the very latest on Taylor versus Serrano happening tonight. As a matter of fact, they're about to go on the air from Madison Square Garden live on Netflix in the next 15 minutes. So with that being said, I got to go run. I got to go to my parents' house. I got to pick up my kid. I got crazy stuff going on right now. It's nuts. We're fired up. Conrad, I will talk to you throughout the evening. I'll be live with you tomorrow. I'll be live with everybody for Gunther versus Goldberg. It's going to be nuts. Conrad, I appreciate you, my brother.
My brother, look forward to it. I hope all of you can join us, and we appreciate you. Take them out, Sean.
This is Clash of the Podcast presents HUBBanomics. This is just the beginning, y'all. Keep it locked. Rock with us all weekend long. Until next time, until tomorrow. God bless. Be encouraged. Evil never prevails. You already know what it is, man. We out.